All right, let me say hello and welcome to each and every one of you. Doug here with thelincolnlist.com. Let me welcome you to another edition of Happy Hour with the Lincoln. If this is your first time stopping by, this is where I'll do my best to answer all of your stock market related questions, tell tales and rant about stock market topics, and do my best to share my 2 decades of trading experience with you guys just so you understand a little bit more about the commitment and the journey that it takes to be a successful investor or trader. So consider it that I'm just sitting in your living room, not mine. You're right here, and we're just shooting a breeze about this journey we call trading. Now, speaking of trading, if you guys need help, I say this every time I do these videos. Every day that the market is open, I'm trading live on screen. So for you day traders out there that are active intraday and daily trading, and that's something that you're interested in, I'm doing this every day on screen, very similar to what you're seeing here right now. So feel free to stop by. Now, something else I want to mention real quick, which I have talked about in the past, but probably not enough, is I do understand that not everybody, number one, likes day trading, and I totally understand that. And two, some of you just don't have the time commitment to sit in front of the computer all day, and some of you might find it just boring and stupid, and I do understand that as well. Or you have other things going on in your life, which I totally understand. I do have a part-time trader program, which is like a swing, position, momentum trader program. And it focuses on just 1 to 2 trades a week. So it's a very easy program to follow, very easy to just kind of get involved with. And it's up over 70% year to date. Even in this psychotic wacko market, it still produced 70% gains. So I'm going to post that up there for anybody that's interested in there's more of a position momentum swing trader, like I said. So now let's talk about what we are going to talk about here in Happy Hour. And the topic that I chose was some discussion that I had recently with a trader during a private session. And this trader's currently in this position in their career where they feel the need to justify and know. So I'm going to call this, I don't know, and neither do you, and neither does anyone else. And what I mean is nobody in the world, nobody, knows what the market is going to do next. There's not a single person in the world that can accurately predict the future ever. Even Nostradamus screwed up every so often, right? So there's nobody that knows everything. But there's traders in that part of their career where they feel like they can know everything about the market, or they can always time the market perfectly. And then they're also in that position where they need to justify every single move that the market makes and why does something do that. Now, I've been kind of adamant about that because I've always thought if you spend too much time trying to figure out every little piece of the market, you're going to drive yourself nuts. I mean, trading is already mentally draining at several points throughout your career. You don't need to add extra by trying to justify the unjustifiable. And to give you a great example of that, it's the current environment that we're in. Because I've always said the market really never makes sense at all. It never does, It's just one big speculative cesspool of emotions and money being thrown at it at all periods of the day. So if you take our current situation now, you got a market that's only a shade off of all-time highs. A market that was just going like bonkers August and September before this recent correction. And it's still not even really corrected that much. Maybe we're down 4% or something. I'm just guessing here in my mind. But here we are with most people not even working anymore. I mean, the economy took a mega hit with coronavirus. I don't need to tell you that. You got thousands and thousands, millions now unemployed, unemployment at record highs with unemployment claims. It hasn't stopped the buying. It hasn't stopped the market. And I know a lot of times people think the market is the economy, and it's nice that sometimes you're led to believe that, but it's not. It's not the economy at all. They're like two separate things, but it shows you then the market just does whatever the hell that it wants. And the topic really came because I had actually done a video the other day. And there's a reason why I wanted to talk about this and why I feel it's so important. Because if you think of something that has to happen, and this is where I see traders lose the most amount of money. They think something makes sense. If this happens plus this happens, then this must happen. Like 1 + 1 = 2. And the market is 1 + 1 = whatever the hell it wants. That's market math. And I had done this video just the other day. I'll post the picture up here. Why the market might crash before the election. And I really believed in my mind. And I've tried my best not to get biased. And I don't. And I'll tell you what I mean. I just did some research. I was looking at indicators. I was looking at technical analysis charts. I was looking at seasonality charts, which I put this whole thing together in that video. And I said, look, the market's probably going to correct more because every signal in the world said that's what's going to happen. Every technical analysis signal said the market's going to go lower. Seasonality, the market's going to go lower prior to an election. Everything was pointing. The action in the market was saying this market wants to go lower. Rallies were being sold, volume was pulling, money was coming out of stocks, insiders were selling at record paces. Everything was lining up, but it didn't happen. In fact, the market went up. Again, it doesn't make any sense. Now, when I think about it, okay, everything was lining up technically from my experience and everything that I've known, learned, studied, and practiced and experienced throughout my trading career should have said we'd gone lower, but we didn't. Now, it's okay to have that bias initially like I did and say, okay, look, that's what I think the market's going to do. But where that bias hurts a trader is when they become stubborn with it and think that it must in all cases do it. That eventually the market's going to catch on to what you're thinking and follow your way of thought. And it doesn't work that way. So in my case, what I have learned, if I would have fought the short bias then and just was hell-bent on saying, look, the market's going to roll over, I would have got steamrolled. And that's exactly how I got steamrolled 15, 16 years ago, because I was stubborn and ignorant. And I thought, hey, something has to happen, and that's just the way it goes. So just to kind of give you guys a little rundown of what happened, I came in there with the short bias this month. I messed around with some shorts. That's exactly what I did. They didn't work, you know. I didn't get smoked because I've been doing this too long to get smoked. And the reason I say this, and I want to talk about this mostly, is because this, guys, is one of the biggest shifts that you'll make in your human mind that'll make you a successful trader or investor. And that is admit, when traders always, you hear them say, you're going to be wrong. You must admit that you are wrong. And when you're saying admit that you're wrong, is that you understand that your formula, your watch list, your idea, whatever you came up with isn't right. It is not working. And it's not a reflection of you, the person, is saying, okay, you're just dumb. You don't know when something works. That's not what this means. And that's the hard part, because naturally, as human beings, we want to be right, right? You know, we want to be right. And when we're not right, we feel like we're either inadequate, stupid, dumb, we're not catching on, we're idiots or whatever. And it's not that way in the market, because again, there's too many emotions, too many variables. But to get back on topic, what we're really talking about here is that I start out with this short trade and I realize quickly, okay, this market has another agenda. So rather than me sit here and just be hell-bent and demand that I know what I'm talking about and I'm the smartest guy in the room and I'm the one with all the experience and I make money and I know what I'm talking about and the rest of the market's dumb, and while I continue to get steamrolled and smoked on these shorts, I immediately recognize, okay, the market has another plan. I cut my shorts, roll over to some longs, and I make money. So the thing is, you can be wrong as a trader. But what you don't want to do is be financially wrong. You don't want to be stubborn and ignorant to where it'll blow you up. Because when you think about, there's two kind of losses to me. There's the small, routine, that's just the way it went loss. And then you have the ignorant, unacceptable, explosive loss. And it's that loss, that one, guys, that does all the damage in your career. And I'll tell you why. The small loss is just a product of you doing business. So when you hear somebody say, I have a 70% win rate, I have an 80% win rate, well, that means the other 30% are just no good. And again, it's another reflection of the trader. Nobody's 100%. You can't be 100% in a market with this much emotion and variable. It's not, it's like anything in the world, quarterback doesn't complete all of their passes. It's impossible to do something. So you're going to have losers. The best thing is to understand, hey, the trade's not working. I don't want to mess with this. I'm cutting my position and I'll move on. That's a cost of doing business. And if you do it that way, then you'll learn to accept that loss and know that, hey, I can make that back. And when we talk about the second one, this is the one that hurts. And this is the one that does more damage than a lot of traders think. Because what happens is there's some point in that really bad loss where you have looked at this trade and said, I don't think this is going to work. I'm in a really bad position. You ever done that? You look at that again. I'm in a predicament here. And meaning that you know how long it takes for a trade to work normally when you get in it. You know what your normal drawdowns, which is your negative balance on a certain trade. Maybe it's $1 a share, a couple hundred or whatever it is. And this thing has reached that limit and it's just not behaving like you're used to seeing a stock or a trade behave. And then there's something that tells you, I better work on this. The market's wrong. I know I'm right about this. This thing has to go up because they make money. It has to do this. It has to do that. And then it just gets worse. And then you continue to make excuses for it because you still think you're right. And you don't want to admit that you're wrong. And that thing turns into a nightmare. And eventually you will come to the understanding that this is not going to work. And you will cut it, most likely, for an enormous loss. Why this is so damaging is because you realize you just had given back maybe 20 or 30 great trades that you made. You just took a week or a month of great discipline, trading, and great work and great profits. You just threw that down the toilet because you were just being dumb. I'm not judging because I've been there. That's why I'm doing this topic right here. So the thing is, guys, you can't always be right here. You can't win on every trade. And nobody knows what the market's going to do. All we can do is try our best based on what we've seen. But you're going to make your money on your ability to come to grips with what's happening in front of you, accept what's happening in front of you, and move on. I've never met a successful trader who just whines about everything in the market and demands that it does something that it doesn't do. One of the biggest difference when they say traders accept losses is that they understand quickly what's happening. Like, hey, I don't think this is going to work. I got to get out of it before it turns into a habit. I just got to get out of it and move on. I got to get out of it and I got to move on. If you're a trader, if you're an investor, then go ahead and sit on your stuff for decades. That's a whole different thing. But you can't do that. Number one, it'll drive you crazy. Number two, it just never works. And that was one of the biggest shifts in my career going from amateur to pro is when I finally said, look, I don't care if I take a loss. I'm actually just sniffing around trying to find really great trades. What I can't do is go against my rules. I can't let my ego overtake my emotions, overtake everything, and cause me to blow up accounts like I did in the past. And when I think about all of the damage that I ever did as a trader and all the money that I lost, that's exactly where it came from. There was always a moment way, way before when I knew, hey, I could cut this and it won't be that bad, but I chose not to do it. And I chose not to do it because I thought I could get out of it, or I was right and the market was wrong. And you can't be that way, Tesla's also a good example of that. People continue to short this stock based on a company they feel is trashed. It's not worth it. And you know what? It ain't worth what it's trading. None of the stuff in the stock market is worth the money that it's trading. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to go higher. You can't just sit there and be one of those stubborn Tesla Q shorts and try to force it when the thing just doesn't stop going up. What are you going to do? So it doesn't make sense. And that's what we're talking about. It doesn't make sense. And it's not up to me to make sense out of it. I can't control a damn thing that stock does. I can't control a damn thing in the market. All I can control is me. That's all we have control over is us, guys. So when we go in there, we have to just put our biases down. We have our things. We have our plan. You got to have a plan A, have a plan B. This works. That doesn't work. That works. This works. You got to be able to move and move quickly. So I hope this makes some sense. Just remember, it's good to have a bias and good to have an idea, but don't let it dominate you. Be willing to change that bias as quickly as you need to. Nobody, the market's made fools out of really intelligent, stubborn people. Taking losses is not a reflection of you and your ignorance. It's something that you have to do if you want to stay here, because all it takes is just one bad trade, and you've ruined a lot. I've already done a topic on that before. One bad trade and you've ruined a lot, and you can't do that. So guys, thanks a lot for watching this happy hours. If you have any tips, comments, quarrels, curmudgeoning, or complaints, please send them to me at support@thelincolnlist.com. Until the next one, take care. Talk to you later.